Hello. There are noises going on before I go live, trying to throw me off and make me laugh, but I'm too professional for that. I'm Mark Hulmes, Dungeon Master to the Stars. No, that's not true. Welcome, friends. I miss you. We're back. I got shady with that one, which is I always like it when I get shady with a joke. Welcome, friends. Welcome back to Nights of Eveningstar. We're back. I'm sorry that we missed last week. That's on this guy. I wasn't feeling very well, but we're back now, and we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to play it with these four beautiful, sexy, kind people. They are Jonathan Indovino, aka ShadyPenguinn, Nate Sharp, Anna Prosser, and Mica Burton, my dear friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Mark complimented me, and now I feel warm and fuzzy inside, and I don't know what to do about it.
That's a better reaction than most people when I compliment them, so I'll take it for sure. Hello, how are we all doing? Nate's just completely hiding the face now.
I said no, you.
No,
Mark.
you.
Reverse card.
Ah!
My blue eyes.
He kybered me.
Going flip.
Yeah. How's everyone doing? Everyone good? Ready for some Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes. Wait, we have to say that white text friend is sexy as well.
White text is. I see. Now the thing
Have
is
you
I
seen
don't
that
want to.
font?
I don't want to ever give clues away about white text friend. And if I'm nice to white text friend, maybe that rules out some of the people that I've seen that people think white text friend is.
That's true.
You're
I
already
try and
nice
just-
to white text friend. I think we can establish that white text friend is
Well,
a paragon of humanity.
It's true. It's true.
If they are human.
We don't know.
A
Actually.
paragon of sentience.
There it is.
Indeed. Let's it's been a week. I just want to have a quick catch in. How have people been? Have you guys been good? What have you been up to? What's exciting you at the minute?
I've been riding horses.
Riding horses. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Nice.
jealous.
I'm very
I had
jealous
the
of that.
weirdest
I've never ridden a horse.
experience this morning. I woke up early, like at 7, naturally, which is
What?
not, I know. I know.
What?
And I was laying in bed relaxing, and I was like, you know what sounds good? Gardening. And I got out of bed and I went in my backyard and I dug up plants and I put in new plants. And that was my
That-
morning, and it felt great.
So grown up.
Can we get some GGs in chat for Anna's productive morning,
For
everyone?
good
You might have
gardening.
peaked a little
GGs
bit.
for good gardening.
It felt very strange because it's one of those things that you're always like, oh, I'd love to do that. Like if I had time, like that'd be so fun. I should try that sometime. And it was like an out of body, like I just floated out of my bed and into my backyard and into the soil. It was great. I planted strawberries. I'm afraid they're gonna freeze, but I planted them.
If my Stardew Valley have taught me anything, you plant strawberries in summer. I don't know if you plant them in spring,
that's
but
true.
I
that's
went
the
to
limit of my
Portland
knowledge.
Nursery and I got my strawberry starts, and it said you can plant these now as of the end of February. So
Stardew
Did
Valley
you-
has done me wrong.
Did you complete the community center so you can get a greenhouse so you can plant them year round, Anna?
I do have a mini greenhouse on my porch.
There you go.
So-
That's where you put the strawberries. You put all
Except
the
I
fruit
put them
in
in the
there.
ground, and now I can't put the ground into the greenhouse.
Oh,
That,
that
it was
attitude,
it was
yeah.
Now that
you know,
attitude.
No,
I'm not a good gardener. I did gardening, but I don't know how to garden. It's a put it in the ground and see what happens kind of gardening.
If we're
love
learning from video games, just like The Sims, read a book for 18 hours and then you're going to level up your gardening.
Okay.
Done.
There you go. Yeah.
Shady, what have you been up to, my man?
I
What's
think
exciting you? What's gotten you pumped?
The things that I can't talk about on this channel, but I have been playing a lot of chess.
Yes. Okay.
So,
Chess
You
now.
like chess?
really into chess
Shady's
right now.
Gambit, am I
Like,
right?
Oh,
really into chess. Yeah, that and just D&D. I play 3 games a week with including this one. So just a lot of D&D, a lot of chess, and then my kids. My kids are healthy, so that's really all that matters.
That's the good
Um,
stuff.
yeah.
Nate, I know that
kids
you
are
don't
like
want to.
gardening except with meat.
Right.
With
Okay. Yeah.
meat?
That's
Yep. We're going to
fair.
move swiftly on from that. Nate, I'm not going to draw any undue attention to you. We're just going to play some D&D, yeah?
I'm
Unless
so
you
scared.
okay, yeah. I thought you thought
Just
that's
you
what
know, another week, more new back pains. So let's play D&D.
let's play D&D.
Can't
Dirty
get
Plus
over
is
meat
great.
gardening.
I love it.
No, I'm just Mica. We gotta leave that one in the past. No, we have to leave
Look,
it
I'm
there.
not
have
going
to
to point
go.
out
We
who brought
have
up
to go.
eating people earlier,
Oh,
but
yeah. That was me.
Wait, really quick before we move on, Nate sent me a TikTok about like how you can accidentally make a person, and it's literally the best thing in the world. So somehow everyone needs to see that. I don't know how.
Go
Figure it
search
out.
that. Find that on the TikTok.
Really good.
I'm down with the kids.
You can just make a person.
You could just make a person.
just
You
a
could be
thing.
like, hey,
Yeah.
let's make a human. And 40 years later, they're like, I got a staff meeting.
Yep.
That's it.
It's
You
crazy.
can accidentally make a person.
Mind blown. With that big bomb drop, let's play some Dungeons and Dragons. I've got a little recap here for everybody. I'm just gonna let everybody compose themselves while I read
No.
this out. We got dog now as well.
Now there's
Excellent.
a dog, so I can't compose myself.
Right. So, last time on the Knights of Eveningstar, our heroes have traveled to the mysterious Castle Braewinter at the behest of a fellow noble who has offered them a grand sum of gold to retrieve a family heirloom, an onyx lantern, studded with their family crest. On arrival, it became clear that something was amiss at Castle Braewinter, as it seemed to be in a perpetual state of darkness and shadow. After traveling up into the mountains and fighting off a large shadowy hawk on the bridge leading to the castle, the party then took the time to explore. They found a pair of ghosts sitting in the castle gardens and turned a potential battle into a chance for diplomacy and seeking answers, though the ghosts could only provide a little information, although they did promise a reward if they were reunited with their friend or peace was brought to Castle Braewinter. The party then returned to the main gates that lead to the castle interior courtyard, whilst Agnis explored a ruined guard barracks that was nearly overwhelmed by painful whispers and screams in her mind. Tarkhal and Clive found their shadows being strangely pulled towards the castle gates that appeared to be covered in a writhing darkness. And when Tarkhal attacked the door, several shadows emerged from the darkness around them and attacked. And that, my friends, is where we kick off. We are actually in initiative, mid-initiatives. There may be a little bit of an adjustment because I didn't quite have a good grip on exactly where everybody was positioned, but I'm fairly certain that almost all of you had a shadow engaging you that had moved up to engage you. I know that Clive had 2. I think one was on Tarkhal. One had been on Azara. I think those were destroyed, and then one is on Agnis currently. So there are 4 shadows remaining. One has taken a little bit of health, and it is unfortunately the shadows go.
Can you remind me also, because I feel like we had gathered some information about what hurt the shadows and what didn't. I feel like
there is a little bit of, I don't mind saying that there things like physical damage that's non-magical, they do seem to be resistant to. But Azara's radiant powers did seem to cause more damage than you expected. There was also, fire they were resistant to, and you haven't tried any other elements as of yet. But that is where we begin. And unfortunately for you, my dear friends, it is the shadows go. And they just kind of come clawing out of you. All of these shadows appear to be different people that maybe once resided in the castle. Some of them appear to be wearing noble gowns. Some of them wearing more servant wear. A couple of them appear to be almost in guard uniforms. But they're all just these black shapes that have pulled themselves up from the ground with these long, distended limbs. And they just kind of reach for you. And their hands almost phase through you as they try to grasp for you. So we're going to make a bunch of attacks here. 2 on Clive, 1 on Tarkhal, and 1 on Agnis.
Bring it.
Here we go. So Clive, the first one is only a 9 to hit. So it kind of swipes for you. You instinctively kind of leap out of its reach. The second one is only a 6 to hit as well. So you kind of fend both of these creatures off as you can feel this cold touch trying to reach for your very life force. Tarkhal, same thing towards you as they reach forward. Does a 13 hit you, Tarkhal?
Does not.
So dexterously, you kind of fling yourself to the side as it lunges forward. And then the last one, both hands grasping towards your throat, Agnis, reaches for you. And that is only a 10 to hit.
that won't hit me.
I did not roll above a 10. So off to a good start for me as these shadows all kind of lumber forward. And you can hear very faintly these kind of like, something is happening. For the Lord, intruders. These kind of like harsh whispered voices. Tarkhal, you are the next to go. So they've kind of all surged forward. You have one right in front of you. Beside you, Agnis also has one engaging her. And then Clive, a little bit ways off, is also being engaged by 2 of these things.
Okay, so I don't have an ally within range of this boy. It's just me and him tussling.
Just you and him tussling at the moment, yes.
Okay, so then I'm going to turn around and look at the one that's near Agnis,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna toss my Kiss of Silver over there.
Okay, you have an an enemy engaged with you, so you're at disadvantage. So that would cancel out the sneak attack, unfortunately.
Oh, but okay.
It would,
Yeah, I guess I think Tarkhal would still do that. So
okay, yeah, you still try and protect your sister, but yeah, unfortunately, no sneak attack.
okay. I rolled a 20. Okay, worst time to not have a sneak attack, but we take it.
And disadvantage.
Oh, a disadvantage. I thought.
Aww.
It cancels out because disadvantage always cancels out sneak attack, but you still have disadvantage.
Oh, you're right. Okay, never mind. The 20 doesn't exist. I actually rolled an 11 plus 8, so 19. That was really
still
sad.
hit.
Chat. Can we get sad?
Still hit, but no critical hit.
Okay, that's fine.
Kiss of Silver kind of pierces through one of them.
Okay, so then it's just 1d4 plus 4 because I don't get sneak attack, so this is really bad damage. I rolled a 1, so that's 5. I'm having a good time.
5 points of damage. This
Take
one was a little bit injured, and Kiss of Silver is a magic dagger, yes?
Yes.
So that does seem to the blow has all the force that you expect it to, but you know you're being hounded by this one next to you, so you can't quite take the time to aim. You have to kind of quickly throw to try and protect Agnis, but don't quite have the time to make a carefully placed attack as you do so. Would you like to do anything else? You still have your move and bonus action.
They take 2 points of damage from actually 1d4, right?
They do not take any of that.
Oh,
damage.
that's
So
right.
the
These
same
guys are
green
freaking-
energy. Yeah, the green energy cascades from the brooch, but the poisonous mist does not seem to affect these living shadows.
Alright. Then I guess I'm just gonna use my bonus action to disengage with
Mhm.
cunning action.
Yep.
And then I'm just gonna get closer to Agnis. Should have
So you
done
step
that.
away.
Yeah.
You could have done that first, yeah.
Reverse,
So you kind
yeah.
of step away from the one that you were fighting, and then you kind of move round and slide in next to your sister, taking up a more aggressive stance. Hey, you've learned for the future. It's a learning experience. Azara. So you
Yes.
see Tarkhal kind of doing all of this. Meanwhile, you know, these shadows are kind of harassing your companions.
Who is the closest companion being harassed?
I think Clive would be the closest one to you at this point.
Gotcha. Then I am going to just first level guiding bolt that one.
Yes, do that.
Yeah.
Clive, I'm very sorry. My initiative was ever so slightly scrolled down, and I didn't see you at the top. You should have been first. You will go next.
It ain't.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 to hit.
And sorry, what spell was this?
Guiding bolt.
Fantastic. Yeah, which one would you like to go? He has Clive has 2 on him at the moment. So left and right.
Whichever one is not. Are either of them hit?
They both seem to be unfazed, untouched. So far.
Whichever one looks meaner.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, one of the guard-looking ones. It seems to have like a kind of shadowy blade in its hand.
Yeah, I don't like that one. All right, so that hits. That's 6, 7, 17 points of radiant
17
damage. Yeah.
points of damage. You see Azara kind of summon these golden winds, and as they kind of blast against the shadow, it just seems to tear it apart. Like the golden light of whatever deity or whatever power she's now using just shreds these things apart, and it destroys it completely. Clive, one just vanishes in front of you.
And then I want to get within 5 feet of the next one.
Okay.
So I want to get a little bit closer to Clive.
Yep. That will put you within 5 feet of it as well. So
That's fine.
okay. All right. So you move up. Clive, you'll go.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing at it.
Sure.
I'm still raging, right?
Yes, and I think that you got the AC boost, right? You got a +1 AC thing.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think that was what your rage was.
Okay. Oh, right. Because the wild. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because
Yep.
of the wild surge. Yeah.
Sweet. So, first attack would be. That's a nat 20,
It's
Bow, 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 bow.
a lucky day.
It's
which
a
is
lucky day.
which is a brutal crit.
It is a brutal crit. So
Yes.
I will remind again, because I do crits a little bit differently.
Mhm.
So whatever dice, so you'd have your weapon dice plus an extra dice for brutal critical. You maximize those. So whatever the max is on those, what is it? A D8 for those damage?
Yeah.
So it'd be 16 plus your normal damage modifier.
Sick.
What's a brutal crit? I've never even heard of that.
So it's a
Is
thing
that
that
when you're
barbarians get.
raging?
They get an extra dice of damage whenever they crit, basically. Whenever they do a crit, they get to do extra damage.
Any time a barbarian crits ever?
With that ability, yes.
Huh.
Yeah. So 16 plus 6, and then you roll the dice again, basically.
So that is 11.
So an additional 11 on top of the 16, 6. I mean, I'm just
27.
trying to work it out in my head. 16, 27, 33. Yeah, that would also pretty much destroy this one as well. Even halved for the resistance, it's still enough that the Morningstar, you swing it with such a force, even though there's no magical energy behind it, you actually dissipate the shadow just by pure strength, like swiping the air kind of concusses it and blows it away with the force of this blow, shattering and spreading the shadow wide across the stony courtyard that you find yourself in.
Sick. That was revenge for trying to chase my shadow earlier.
You look around, there are still 2 left. One that Tarkhal had left, which is now separated on his own, and then the one which is fighting Agnis next to Tarkhal and Agnis.
Let's go for that. The last one you just said.
The one fighting Agnis and Tarkhal. Okay, so you kind of gang up with your friends and charge for that one.
Yep. I'm gonna swing at it again. That is 20 something.
That's a hit.
Okay. Nah, not as good. 7.
7 points of damage is so you swipe, but again, without that magical energy around your Morningstar, it does kind of clip through the shadow, and parts of it are pulled away in these wispy strands. But there's still this very faint, shadowy figure left remaining as you do so. Anything else, Clive, on your turn?
Wait, should I have added, because I'm raging, do I still get the +3 to melee?
You absolutely do. If you didn't add that before, for sure.
I did not. So then +3 to, so half of, so I don't know, 1.
1.
Yeah.
Still, there is just this thin strand of shadowy creature left. Like this tiny, thin, flickering shadow being is still in place.
Just a little growl at it.
Perfect. So as you kind of see this thing left, Agnis, you see Clive kind of run up and swing this thing, ripping it apart for the most of it apart, but there's still just this thin strip of shadow left in front of you. What would you like to do?
You said me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. If I were to identify a 20-foot cube, would it be possible to get all of the shadows in it without catching any of my party members?
Not without catching at least Clive or Tarkhal, because they're next to you. So a 20-foot cube, you would definitely be able to. You'd have to hit one of them to catch both of the shadows. They're kind of clustered in this courtyard as it stands.
I'm just gonna.
I mean, you could move, but. Yeah, with 30 feet of movement, you could move to the side and probably catch 2 of them, actually. If I think about it, if you moved first, but you'd have to risk an opportunity attack to do that. But from where you are...
Anna, feel like this fight is kind of like small potatoes compared to what we're probably going to find soon. And it doesn't seem like these are doing like tons of damage to my colleagues, right? Like nobody's been
hit yet.
Yeah. So I think that Agnis is actually just kind of going to be like, looks like Azara's got this, and kind of just like step back.
Okay. Yeah, you could take the disengage action and then move away from the shadow left, or you could take the dodge action. Disengage probably safer because you've got 2 allies next to it. Okay.
And
so
the reason for that,
disengage.
It's not just because I'm like, Azara can get it. It's like nothing I can do is really hurting them. Like my physical attacks, my fire attacks, nothing is helping. So
sure. I mean, don't forget you got your cantrips. There's no harm if you've got like damaging cantrips and stuff like that as well.
I mean, I guess Primal Savagery is technically a magical weapon, right?
Yeah, it's acid damage, I think. It deals acid damage.
Yeah, I'll try that. Why not?
Sure.
So I'll just, I'm pissed off. Nothing I'm doing is working. Fingernails, teeth, rawr. And I will, let's see, that's just a +8 to hit. That's going to be a 24 to hit.
That hits. Yeah, that hits the thin, wispy shadow creature in front of you.
And that will do 6 poison damage.
Here's the thing, 6 poison damage halved is still 3 points of damage, which is more than 1 point of damage. So this tiny thin strip of shadow being, you just rip in half with this acid kind of pouring out of your fingernails and things like that. It just kind of, the emergent magic manages to rip this tiny wisp of shadow apart. And there is this kind of faint release of breath almost when it dies, like this. As the
I
shadow
imagine
travels
also
away.
that Agnes looks fairly lion-like when she does that, because she's got this big mane of red hair and these fangs and these giant claws.
Next to
Just-
Clive, the two of you
yeah.
kind of creating this image around Tarkhal and these two, massive, magical lions thingy. As you do this, Agnes, you kind of rip this one apart and you look around. There is still one shadow remaining, the one that Tarkhal had been fighting and disengaged from. And seeing the three of you together, it turns its attention on the lone solitary target, which is Azara, and it rushes towards her to try and grip her in its shadowy hands. That is going to be a 14, Azara.
My armor class is 14.
Oh, then I'm afraid that you are going to take some damage, and I need you. In fact, no, this is just, it affects you straight up. So you're going to take only 5 points of necrotic damage. However, your strength score is reduced by 4. As it grips you, you feel all of the strength in your body just kind of drain out of you and leave your body. Your limbs become heavy. Your body, you sag almost to the ground. Even just your meager gear kind of becoming an unbearable weight as this thing grips onto you.
How do I make that temporary? Because I think I just accidentally modified it 100%.
Well, if there's take a note of what it was, and then
I don't remember what it was.
Well, you reduced it by 4, so
Okay,
add 4
let me
to
add,
it.
add 4 to it. Okay.
I think there is a way to do it temporarily. Hang on, give me a second here. Yes, so there is so you've got the override score, override modifier.
Right, I did override
but-
score and then it modified it.
Yes, but it
100%.
still says your base score is 8, so you can always change it. You can just delete the override score and it should reset to the normal value. But yeah, you feel, Azara,
Okay.
all of your strength just kind of drain out of you, and even your like staff, you're struggling to hold it up. Like you haven't used all your strength to just grip onto this staff as this thing latches onto you, as it does so. Tarkhal, you witness, all of you see this thing kind of rush off, grip its hands on Azara, and you just watch the color in her body drain. Like she almost falls to her knees, like barely able to stand as it grips onto her.
Yeah, I would just immediately instinctively just throw my kiss of silver, unsheath it, and toss it towards
Go for it.
this shadow boy. Oh my gosh, I rolled a 3, so 11.
That's one off. You watch as the kiss of silver just misses the shadow's head, almost in fear of risking Azara, right? Like you kind of have to throw it at the last second, and it just passes past the shadow's odd form. Anything else you'd like to do, Tarkhal?
No, that'll be it.
Clive, I'm going to remember, Clive, you should have gone first. I did it again.
That's okay. So is all that's left this little frail remain of this one shadow, or
it's just the one attacking Azara. The other one, Agnis, just ripped apart. There is just this other one left, which is just gripped onto Azara.
okay, I'm gonna do that thing where I try to hit it.
Okay.
That's another nat 20.
What?
I wish I could switch cameras without screwing everything up, but I'm
It's fine. I trust you,
looking
man. It's
at
cool.
it with my own 2 eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, so same thing again. So max the damage dice. Don't forget your +3 damage from rage, and then roll the dice again.
8, 10. It's 11 plus the double, which was 16.
Yep.
So same thing, 27 again.
And then damage modifier on top.
That was added.
Oh, okay, and you've added the +3 this time?
Yes.
Cool. So 27 damage. You watch as this thing kind of strikes down. So 27 halved would be 10, 13. The mace again kind of rips through, almost kind of shredding this thing with the weight of the blow. But there's still just these wispy strands left, emerging from it. Second attack.
Okay. That is not a 20. That is a 17.
That still hits. Easily
Cute.
enough. So on the backswing, the Morningstar comes up.
Alright. Ooh, that's max damage. 8, 9, 12, 13, 14. 15 total.
15 points of damage is plenty in this regard.
Yeah.
The upswing dissipates what's ever left of this shadow. Azara, you kind of breathe a sigh of relief as this thing evaporates in front of you and Clive's giant leonine form is there. The whole plaza seems to go still once again. Still in this kind of ever-present gloom. There's still no light around you. You're all relying on this kind of very faint blue light from these flame-lit braziers. But even that is so dim, it's hard to even see by. And your own dark vision kind of causing the shadows to stretch and warp around you. But yeah, there does now seem to be the coast is clear, at least temporarily. But Azara, you are, that is your strength score.
I don't get it back?
It doesn't, you that strength isn't coming back to you. You're kind of like, the creature's been destroyed and you still feel that deadness in your limbs. You still feel that kind of heavy weight of your clothing and gear pressing down on you.
Cool.
So I hand it over to you, all of you.
That's how you do it, lads.
So those things came out of the door when I struck it. What does the door look like? I want to go over and inspect it. Does it look like
The door still seems to be covered in shadow. Yeah, it's still got this like writhing kind of shadowy pattern on it. The Kiss of Silver, I think, maybe where it reflected a small amount of the light from the braziers, there is almost like a tiny part of it that's been burnt away. But you can see it's ever so slowly beginning to grow black, back to shadow. So where the light of the dagger kind of reflected, it did seem to cause some of the shadow to burn away.
Noticing that, I'd probably look to Azara. It seemed like your magic was very effective in battle. Certain spells, but do you think maybe that would work on the door?
I think at this point, if Azara is that affected, she's just going to kind of slump down onto the floor and not be able to respond at the moment.
Yeah,
she's doing a thing. You suppose I should hit it?
Well, I don't think you should hit it. I think that's what caused the shadows to attack us in the first place.
Right, which is why I think we should hit it.
I'm
Well,
gonna go to Azara's side while the boys talk
it
about
doesn't
the door.
look like we removed much of the shadow from the door. It's all still there, except this
Well, I
little...
got nothing else to do today except this.
How long can we do this?
I've got plenty of fight in me, lad. I don't know about you.
Agnis, when you go up to Azara, you can see that there's almost no sign of physical injury. There's maybe kind of like a little black scorch or like a kind of like part of her skin looks like something icy cold has touched it. But there's just, this really pallid, her muscles almost look a little bit shrunken and atrophied. She looks very physically weak, but no actual outward sign of injury like wounds or anything like that.
Would I recognize this as a sap strength spell?
I think you can definitely make a medicine check for me.
That will give me 18.
18. I mean, looking at this undead creature, I mean, it's not hard. I don't think you guys are, you're clever enough to work out that these shadows were definitely not living things. Definitely seems to have sapped her her strength. Like it's literally, drained some of her very strength away. If it had continued doing that, you are not quite, that probably would have killed her. If that had sapped all of her strength away, Azara probably would have died from that.
Do I know how to counter the effects of a spell like this? Do I know if Cure Wounds would help or
Cure Wounds won't? There are spells, Lesser and Greater Restoration, which can help sometimes with these spells. Sometimes things like this will go away with rest. Sometimes it's permanent. Greater Restoration is almost a guaranteed cure, but that is quite a powerful spell.
Well, here's the thing, Mark Hulmes.
Yep.
I challenge you to consider, right?
Please.
That Agnis
I love a bargain.
has enhance ability as one of her spells, and she can cast Bull's Strength on somebody.
Sure.
Which gives them advantage on strength checks and their carrying capacity doubles. So I would posit that brings somebody to a higher level of strength. So if they're at a lower level of strength, it might bring them to normal.
Let me counter propose to you, Anna Prosser, that is a really clever idea, and I really like it. And how long does enhance ability last? Is it an hour?
An hour if concentrated.
Okay, cool. So if you cast that spell, I would say that Azara feels strong enough that she can move around. She would basically be back to her original strength, but it would be a temporary solution. It would allow Azara to move around. Azara's conscious, like she's just obviously so drained of strength that obviously, you know, Azara's reacting appropriately, but she's not unconscious or stunned or anything like that. But the enhanced ability would allow her to move around as long as you're concentrating on it, and it would be temporary. As long as that spell lasts,
because she needs
fix
to
the
rest.
Strength score.
Yeah, she needs to rest to fix it. But like for now, it would be like a stim pack.
Yeah, exactly that. It would be like a stim. It would be like a temporary kind of boost to get her on her feet and moving around. However, if you were to fight more of those things and they did that again, it would not save her from her strength being reduced. Her strength would still be what it is now, which is 4. If they reduce it by another 4, she will still die.
Gotcha. So
it doesn't fix
I
the
confer
problem.
with Azara as magic users. We magic theory craft. I ask her if she wants me to do this.
And Azara will respond, I appreciate what you're doing for me. And if push comes to shove and we have to fight again, we do have a potion of strength that I can use for now. And hopefully this isn't permanent and Azara will just kind of trail off.
So yes to the bull.
Yes, please.
So Agnis, I think the fluff of how Agnes's spell works is that each of these enhance abilities takes the form of kind of a fire spirit animal. So for this one, I think Agnis kind of puts her hand on the ground and calls upon this like glowing molten looking fire that a bull like climbs out of the ground and like puts its shoulder under Azara's arm and pushes her up and then like absorbs into her. Yeah.
Fills her body. Awesome. So we see this kind of going on in the background whilst Tarkhal and Clive, are you guys still arguing about hitting the door? Tell me what's going down.
Well, I'm saying if we deal with another handful of shadows, we'll be fine. It'll be a good time.
Look at Azara. She's a mess from dealing with the shadows. We can't just provoke them without knowing how to not make this happen again.
Well, she just had a bull claim in that. I think she'll be all right. She can sit aside and we'll take care of it.
Well, okay. How about we let Azara try working the door with whatever magic she's been using? And if that doesn't work, you can smack some shadows, Clive.
Kind of angered by the fact that this shadow took advantage of her and a little bit bolstered by Agnis, Azara will kind of like stride forward, very determined, and just as an experiment and ready to run, will cast Word of Radiance on the door.
Okay, can you roll the damage for Word of Radiance?
It's con 30. Oh, just roll the damage? Okay.
Yeah, just the door can't make a con save, so just roll me a straight up damage.
If you believe it, it's 11.
Nice. Perfect. Let me grab this. Okay, so okay, yeah, 10 points of radiant damage. So you watch as the Word of Radiance kind of erupts from Azara in this furious kind of burst of light, and a large enough part of the door, the shadow, I mean, this door is like 12, 13 feet tall, but the attack burns away enough of the shadow that 2 creatures could get on either side of the door and either push or pull it open without touching the shadow stuff.
Well,
you can see the shadows are no longer being pulled in and things like that.
Since it's a cantrip and it's just Word of Radiance, Azara will just start like screaming at the door, just like constantly like shouting.
Burns it away until the whole door is no longer covered in shadow.
And she'll just yell like, "Open it now."
Sure. Tarkhal and Clive, do you guys physically go up and you're going to try and open the door?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Can you both give me athletics checks?
Yeah. Oh.
That's 4.
17.
17.
Ooh,
17.
Twins.
The 2 of you As Azara lets this kind of big burst of light, you can see this kind of fiery energy pulsing through her skin. The light burns away the shadows, and the two of you just shoulder barge into the doors, and this big, heavy kind of as the doors are pushed open. If you've ever played a game like Dark Souls or Demon Souls, it's kind of got that strong vibe going on. And it leads into a inner courtyard that you can see beyond. This is the kind of interior wall gate. So what you look into is a smaller, tighter courtyard than the one you're standing in. You can see a covered well house sits at the very center of the space, and then looming directly in front of you up a short set of steps, there is an enormous castle. It has twisted spires, tiled overhangs looking down onto the space, all of its windows completely pitch black, like dark eyes staring down upon you. You can see its large doors at the front of the castle, like a great sorrowful maw, wide and open, ready to accept any who would enter. You can also see that to your left, attached to the castle, there appears to be a more smaller, more homely looking building, maybe something for a servants or a kitchen sort of thing. It has leaded windows, all equally dark. And then to the right, there is a stairway that leads up onto the castle's ramparts that encircle the main wall around the castle itself. And that is what you see. There is also a large guards tower, and I will, for those of you, it doesn't have to be shown on the stream, but for those of you in the party, I will show you on a map roughly where you are. Hello, Mica Burton.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
You said there's a large guards tower, but from where we are standing, can we see anything that looks like a mage tower or another sort of
So
tower?
there is a part of the castle itself. There does appear to be a kind of twisted spire that would match some of the spires that you would have seen in the grand cities in Cormyr.
Mhm.
Looks like a war wizard's tower, but it seems to be part of the larger castle itself, seemingly accessed from inside.
Seeing that, Azara will point up to the tower and say, if we're going to find a mage's lantern, that's where it'll be.
Seems logical to me.
The other thing I will mention is, in fact, actually, no, you guys haven't really moved forward yet. The guard tower rises up just on your right-hand side, next to the stairs that lead up onto the ramparts. There is a kind of intense feeling of cold coming from it. Seems to be almost spilling down like an icy mist from some floor up above. But the castle itself looms ahead of you. And yeah, apart from that and this little well house, probably the source of the water for the castle and extended sieges, that sort of thing. When you do look, there is a very faint glow coming from the well itself. The first bit of light that you have actually seen in this place that isn't a blue kind of dim flame. This appears to be a kind of soft white light that is coming from deep from the well itself. What would you guys like to do?
I'm gonna go over to that.
Yeah, same. I immediately. And I'll call Agnis over as well.
Okay. Well, Clive and Mica, it sounds like you guys are the first two there. You make your way over to this small kind of like, well. And looking into it, there is this very soft, pale light. There's a tall, narrow, kind of towered like building. There is a metal crank and chain attached to the well itself. And it appears to be a shaft that heads down, and it is lit by this dimly glowing light, and it looks about 70 feet down. There is water which is refracting the light. You can see that about 70 feet down there is water, and there may be some sort of cavern or chamber that the water is stored in below. And yeah, you can just kind of see it maybe looks like a glowing orb below the surface of the water. Hard to see. You'd need to make a perception check if you would like to see any more details.
I would like to make a perception check, please.
Sure.
Same.
Okay.
I
Sure,
also peer in. I just kind of look down there, say, "Well, now." It's like this big lion face looks at Azara.
Azara will just sigh and take a look in as well, but she kind of chuckles under her breath. Not gonna lie, it tickles her a little bit.
Tickles a little bit.
I got a 15.
15?
I got a 21.
Woo!
Okay.
Lion
So-
eyes.
Even with the 15, Azara, the water's refracting the source of the light. It's quite far down. And in fact, you realize this is probably the brightest light you've seen. It's actually kind of hurting your eyes a little bit to look at. Clive, though, you kind of peer down, and with your kind of leonine sort of vision, you kind of separate some of the images, and like you blink a few times. There definitely is some sort of glowing orb. It looks to be, maybe the sight would fit in your fist, like fit in the palm of your hand. But there are bodies, the first kind of like physical remains you've seen since entering this place. You can see the glint of rusted armor, and you can see tattered remnants of like dresses, like sodden dresses down there. And they're skeletal, but they are the first remains you've seen since entering this place.
What is the diameter of this well?
I mean, it's big enough for a creature to go down.
Is it small enough to kind of like sidle down?
You can climb down it, yeah. So you'd still make an
Okay.
athletics check. There is also a chain which is attached to the crank and the kind of overhead spokes. There is a metal chain that heads down.
This seems to
Climbing-
me like a job for Mage Hand.
He said
It is
70,
70
feet.
feet. Yeah,
Mage hand
it's
is
70
30.
feet down.
Ow.
I thought the same thing.
Also, Catman saw a glowing ball. He's already on his way
He's
down.
shiny.
It's too late. We can't
Okay.
stop him.
Then it's just
All right.
going.
All right,
Um,
Clive, if you can, so your climbing speed, do you have a climb speed? I don't think you do you? I was thinking, did cats have a
No.
climbing speed? I don't think so. What's your normal movement speed, Clyde?
That would be 45 feet.
45 feet. So you climb at a rate of half your movement speed. So we'll say 20 feet. So it will take you about 3 rounds to get down. What is anybody else doing anything while Clive climbs down?
Preparing cure wounds just in freaking case.
Like a few seconds, you just hear like, "Oh, this thing goes way down here, doesn't it?"
I was
The
waiting
voice.
for
Hey,
it.
It's getting a bit dark. No, there's the ball. I see it. I see it.
I guess Azara will just kind of shout down, when you reach the orb, throw it up and I'll catch it. And she'll prepare
Okay.
Mage Hand.
So you shout that down. Tarkhal, are you just kind of standing guard? What's Tarkhal up to?
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye out at this point because a lion just jumped in a well.
Sure. Make a perception check for me, Tarkhal, because whilst something happens, I want to see if you pick up on anything else. Clive, you start climbing down. You're about 20 feet down, like you're just beginning your ascent. And that chain that you're kind of partly using to climb down, kind of using your feet on either side as well. The chain snaps. The rusted, worn-out chain snaps, and you begin sliding down. Give me an athletics check to see if you can catch yourself before you sploosh into the water.
I rolled a dirty 20 on that.
14.
Okay. 13. Clive,
14.
you try and like put your arms down, but they kind of like begin to burn. It hurts the palm of your hands, and you splash down into the water below. You kind of feel you don't take any damage because you do hit the water feet first. You kind of dive under. Tarkhal, whilst this happens, like the others kind of are like looking at Clive, and just before you turn around, you do notice that stood in the kind of dark arch of the door that leads into the castle interior, there is a shape, the shape of some sort of humanoid, not moving, but just stood there. Clive, you hit the water. Do you come up for air, or are you just going to go swim straight down?
Cat instincts kick in. The first few seconds of being in water, I'm just like flailing, freaking out.
Sure. So you kind of flail and freak out. You swim up, and you realize that actually at the bottom of this well, there is a fairly large cavernous space. It's maybe about 40 feet from the surface of the water. So, it's quite far down, like it's quite deep, this cavern system you're in. You kind of swim up to the surface, grab some air, and yeah, you've got 70 feet of well going up to the others. But looking down, yeah, you see 3 skeletal corpses. One of which has a skeletal hand wrapped around this glowing ball. There is also, they appear to be wearing all sorts of different jewelry that seems to be fairly well preserved, even in the water. One of them also carries a leather scroll case. And yeah, that's what you see.
I got all sorts of shady and nice things. I'm gonna see what I can't bring back up.
Azara, hearing that, will say, "Yes, take everything you see, just in case."
Right then.
I'll
try and
I would-
gather whatever I can.
Okay, Tarkhal.
I would like look to Agnes and be like, Agnes, do you see? And like point towards the figure that I see in the doorway.
Yeah, so Agnes, even being very acutely aware of your surroundings, with everything that Clive was doing, you didn't quite pick up on this. But now that Tarkhal's pointed it out to you, you see a little bit more clearly than Tarkhal does. There is just leaning against the door and watching you. You don't see their eyes reflecting any light, but there is a elven humanoid just watching. They just seem to be leaned against the door, watching everything you're doing.
Do they see me seeing them?
You don't know because you can't see where they're looking. Their whole face is almost like a shadow. You just see the outline of them. Clive, you start swimming down. You've definitely got enough breath. You don't have to worry about holding your breath down here. You're a big, strong lion man. And yeah, you start gathering stuff up. You grab the orb, which is called a drift globe. You can add that to your inventory. There is also some golden, there's a golden necklace and a gold signet ring and the scroll case, which you can all just make a quick note of those. I don't think Clive would know how much these things are worth on his own, but maybe Azara or the others would. But when you go down there and you start gathering things up, you see more light begins to filter into the cavern, not just from the ball that you're holding, but 3 orbs of kind of pale blue light just sort of wink into existence and begin drifting through the water.
All right,
playfully.
Golden.
And you start swimming back up to the surface, and I'm afraid we're going to need to roll initiative because these things begin to crackle with lightning as you do so.
You said there's 3 bodies down there, huh?
There's 3 bodies, and there are
3 orbs of light.
There's 3 orbs of light.
I got 15.
13 for me.
Okay, give me a second here. I just got to sort of my count out. So 13, did you say, Azara?
15.
15. My apologies. 13 for Agnes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tarkhal.
12.
12. And Clive.
13.
13. Oh dear. So you being a kitty in underwater, you can swim, but like you are slower than these things, which seem to be completely unfazed by the water itself. In this kind of large sphere, they begin crackling with lightning, and they will basically fly towards you at a rapid rate. And 2 of them get close enough that they begin to try and shock you with this lightning. And because you are in the water, they're going to have advantage on this attack roll against you as it is conducting the water.
Everyone hears, oh!
The first one kind of sends out a blast of lightning, and you kind of manage to swerve to the side, even though the water is kind of carrying some of the current. The next one, that one, however, is probably going to hit. That's a 21.
Uh-huh.
That's going to be 9 points of lightning damage, Clive, as these 2 little balls kind of swim up to you and blast you with lightning as you are desperately trying to swim for the surface, which is about 40 feet up from where you are. As a point as well for your benefit, Nate, what kind of weapon uses a Morningstar, right, Clive?
Mm-hmm.
Underwater, you'll have disadvantage on all your attacks with anything that isn't like a piercing weapon, like a dagger or a short sword. And ranged weapons just don't work in general.
Okay.
Azara, you looking down the well, you see Clive like looking around and then starts rapidly swimming up. You see more light filling the cavern below, and 2 balls of lightning rush towards him and blast him with lightning as he's trying to swim back his way up to the surface. What do you do?
How far away are they?
70 feet, and then they are about 30 feet from that, so 100 feet down.
Ha! Okay, 100 feet.
I'll be back up in a minute.
That's 10 feet out. That would murder him.
You guys hold your action.
Yes, I'm going to hold my action until one of them, in my arcane knowledge, would I know if this is something that has an intellect score or is sentient
I would say that
or has a mind?
given that they seem to be waiting in ambush and they have attacked Clive once he swum down for the shiny thing, you would guess that there is some sentience. How much sentience, you don't know. But
Okay. Well,
they do appear to be sentient things.
at that risk, I'm going to hold my action until one of them gets within 90 feet of me.
Okay. Sure. That would probably be if they follow Clive up, they'll definitely
Yes.
get within that range. Okay.
Yes.
Agnis Crownsilver.
When I gave the strength spell, I forgot that meant no other spells.
Concentrations. Well, as long as it's not a concentration spell. You can cast other spells as long as they're not
Oh.
concentration spells.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was like until you cast any other spell.
No, it's only other concentration spells. So if you have like an instant cast spell, or like cantrips, you can still use those and things like that. Yeah, concentration only goes out when you cast another concentration spell, or you're incapacitated, or you fail a concentration check.
I don't think this will work, but just for fun, just for crafting. I have erupting earth, which is I can create like a fountain of earth, basically. And then if a creature fails a dex save, they take bludgeoning damage and it turns into difficult terrain. But theoretically, if I were to cast erupting earth between the lightning motes and Clive, and it was to erupt under him to propel him up the well, what do you think?
Give me the exact, like, what range and stuff does it have? Like, does it say like it projects like in a 15-foot range or something like that?
Range is 120 feet. I choose a point that I can see on the ground. Oh, on the ground. Well, on the side of the well, let's say.
Well, it's also Clive's currently at the bottom of a stone cavern. Like you can see that underneath the well is this stone cavern that this kind of pocket of water has been created in. And Clive's at the bottom of it where he was gathering up all the goodies.
So it would be the ground.
But there is there's rock underneath him currently.
Yeah. So a fountain of churned earth and stone erupts in a 20-foot cube centered on that point.
Okay.
Each creature in that area must make a dex saving throw. A creature takes let me make sure that I'm on the right level because I don't want. Yeah. A creature takes 3d12 bludgeoning damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. Additionally, the ground in that area becomes difficult terrain until cleared.
Okay. The difficult terrain probably won't affect these things because they're swimming in the water above where you'd be churning the earth. The other thing is that Clive will probably have to make this saving throw as well, but I will have him propel him 20 feet up. Like whether he succeeds or fails, this will push him 20 feet up. It may push the wisps with him as well. But you will also do the damage. Like if he fails the save, like he will just be another target of the spell.
He has a lot of.
It's got loads of hit points.
HP. So I'll just fix that if it, you
have curing spells. You're good.
Agnis was looking at the elf and then just throws earth.
So you see, Clive, you just feel like this rumbling in the stone beneath you as you're about to kind of begin swimming upwards. And then just this geyser of rock and stone propels directly under you. Can you, and I will make for the two wisps that moved up to you, I will make dexterity saving throws.
And it's 16. Save DC.
Okay. One fails, one succeeds. Is it half damage on a success?
Yeah.
So to balance the two nat 20s, that's a 1.
No.
Well, enjoy this damage.
Dang it. Come on, Clive.
It's a swimming cat.
Not much
16.
dexterity.
Your bar was way too high.
So that's going to be 8 for the one that took half.
It's okay. I mean, the whole point was to lift you and you can take a hit.
Yeah, that's fair.
So these things, there is some ephemeral nature to them. Some of the rock and stone passes through them, but it does still project them and push them and damage them as you kind of spring forth this thing. Clive, you are also battered in the back by these stones as you are propelled 20 feet up. So now there's only 20 feet to the surface. You can get there in one swim now as you're kind of projected upwards. Two of these things definitely seem to be injured, one more than the other. Azara, your spell also triggers because the two things are pushed up with Clive.
Heck yeah.
Are all the treasures also pushed up?
Well, he was holding them. He had like gathered
okay.
them up. Clive's
Great.
Clive's gathered them all. So
Then I cast Mind Thrust on the one that looks less damaged, I guess.
you can't really tell, but sure.
Yeah, sure. Is an intellect 14 save.
Okay. That is going to be 13. Takes damage.
Dope. So that's 3d6 damage.
Nice. There's no resistance against this.
Dope. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points of psychic damage.
9 points of psychic damage. You watch as one of these little orbs winks out of existence.
Dope.
Seemingly, your spell, this kind of like projection of mental force, you connect with some hateful, vengeful spirit that this thing is. And with your very force of your mind, Azara, you basically just go, no, and it winks out of existence, dissipating.
As a bonus action, can I scream, keep swimming?
Sure.
Go.
Clive.
Okay, so I'm gonna, I guess you said I'm a one turn swim away now.
Yeah, so you were at the bottom, which was, it's 40 feet to the surface of the water, which is where then it's 70 feet of well.
Mhm.
You were pushed up 20 feet in a 20-foot cube. So there's now 20 feet of swimming to go. And your swim speed is your half of your normal speed. So you can get there in one movement. You can swim to the surface and then try and climb up the well if you wish.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, cool. This would be an attack of opportunity against the one that's next to you.
That's fine.
Sure. Okay. That is definitely going to hit. That's like a 23 for 12 more points of lightning damage as you're kind of like, and then as you swim up, just you're blasted in the side by lightning.
Cool.
And then you just want to start climbing your way up the well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're big enough and the well is like made of these old cobbled stones. I'm not going to have you make an athletics. You're just going to be moving at half speed. So it's like 20 foot. So you'll basically get 20 feet up the well with your full range of movement, but that'll be your whole turn. You'll have to dash up the well basically to clamber up it. But you start kind of pulling yourself up like.
Now, if I were to rage.
Yes.
And then I get advantage on strength checks. Would that help me climb better?
It won't make you climb any faster. It will make sure that you don't fall if you like take damage or anything like that, but it's not going to help you climb faster.
Nah, I'm not going to fall.
Sure. Okay. Don't worry about it. You don't need it then. Cool. Well, Clive the Wildmane. From beneath you, Clive, one of the remaining little orbs that hadn't quite flown in to attack you yet, Azara and Agnis and Clive, you see it kind of whip through the water below the water, and then it just begins flying straight up, and it just up into the air. It gets pretty much within range that it can blast Clive with a bolt of lightning, but it doesn't have advantage anymore as it's no longer in the water. And this one, you feel a blast of kind of burnt air as you kind of move your head to the side of Clive, and stones break next to you as this blast of lightning singes the wall behind you as this little floating orb of light is chasing after you. Tarkhal. What do you want to do?
I haven't taken my eyes off of this figure.
They have not moved.
And I honestly think I'm just gonna like move myself, I guess, like to be directly in front of the well if I wasn't already, to kind of like position myself between this figure and my friends.
Sure.
And I'm just gonna keep looking because it sounds like things are going fine.
An ever so slight shift in position where they're clearly adjusting it so that they can watch you. So like before, where they're kind of leaning up, they kind of twist their body so that they keep you in eye line as you move.
Can I ready my Kiss of Silver? And if this figure does anything funny, I want to just impale him.
Sure.
Okay, that's my turn.
So you're just watching it. Okay. We jump up to the top. One of the remaining wisp in the water will also now fly upwards and kind of gets alongside of Clive, and it's going to try and blast him for a 17 to hit Clive.
Yep.
Blast of lightning. 13 points of lightning damage as this thing floats up next to you and explodes with light once again.
Ow.
The other one was destroyed. That's all they can do. Azara. So you can see Clive, he's now 50 feet from the surface. He's about 20 feet up the well. So about 50 feet down, Clive and two of these balls of light.
Okay. First, I'm going to spend. Wait, is spending a sorcery point an action or a bonus action?
I believe it's a bonus action.
Dope. Bonus action. I'm spending 1 sorcery point to have resistance to lightning, just in cases. And then is one of them hurt?
One of them, yeah, it does seem to be a little diminished
Cool.
in terms of its illuminosity.
I'm going to point at it and cast Toll of the Dead. So that's a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh, wisdom saving throw. Do undead get any sort of like special like disadvantage or anything on the saving throw?
The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, take necrotic damage if the target is missing any of his points. It takes double or it takes D12. No, nothing about.
Okay.
Just if it's missing hit points.
It still fails and it is missing hit points. So
dope. So that's 2D12.
Whoa.
Where are my 12s? There they are. That is a 9 and a 6.
So 15.
15 points of necrotic damage.
Quite interestingly, oh, they have resistance to necrotic. So that's going to become 7 points of damage. So you hear this kind of melodious boom, and you see the orb seems to almost dim ever so slightly as this melodic bell sounds and echoes down the well itself. Anything else, Azara?
No, that's it.
Okay. Agnis Crownsilver.
I'm trying to think. The moats are still like behind Clive, right?
One of them is like 5 feet below him. One of them is next to him. It's like floating so they can fly. So it's just floating next to his face.
And there's only 2 left, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cast... Wait, I'm going to double check that it doesn't take concentration. It does take concentration.
The joys.
I am going... Dang it, so does guidance. So many of my things are concentration.
That is an unfortunate key factor in a lot of support and utility spells.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to try a scorching ray.
Okay. So attack rolls. You have 3 rays, I believe, unless you're casting at a high level.
I do have 3 rays. Yes.
Okay. So you've got the one next to Clive, which is the one Zara just used Toll the Bell on. It does seem dimmer than the other one. The other one is much brighter. So they're not taking any damage.
All right. I'm shooting the one right next to Clive.
Okay.
First is an 11 for the first ray.
That does not hit. The nimble little ball of light whips to the side.
The next one, that was a warning shot. The next one is a 24.
That does hit the one next to Clive.
And that'll do 2d6 fire damage, which will be 7.
7 points of fire damage. They are resistant, but they take half damage. So you see, like, it does kind of the burn, the scorching ray does strike against the creature, and it does kind of semi-burn parts of it away. But its undead nature seems to be kind of protecting it from some of the elements.
And then the third ray, oh my gosh, my rolls are so bad. It's a 10.
It just whips to the side again, lightning quick, like.
I'm just trying not to hit Clive, you know, being really careful.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Absolutely. Clive of the Wildmane. You have 50 feet to the surface. You have 2 things next to you. What would you like to do?
So if all I do is climb, then how far can I get of the 50 feet?
You would be able to get 40 feet up, although you do have 45 movement. So I would say you could get the full 50 if you go at full speed. That would be your action and your move, and they would get an attack opportunity against you, both of them.
Would it also be my bonus action?
No, you'd still have your bonus action.
Okay, so just to see what happens, I'm going to rage.
You let out the roar, the prismatic color spreads out from you as your wild magic comes into effect, the magic of the Feywild.
And that's going to be, what is that? Flowers and vines temporarily grow around you until your rage ends. The ground within 15 feet of you is difficult terrain.
So the walls of the well begin growing with this overgrowth, these vines and flowers. Moss begins growing all up the sides of the well as you let out this bellowing roar, creating this like verdant evergreen all around the sides of you.
Cool.
That's what you get. Cool.
Great. Now there's whatever.
And the floating orbs don't care.
I like rage in these vines growing. I just look at the orbs like, I'll just keep climbing.
Cool. Right. 2 opportunity attacks against you. The first one
Yep.
is going to be a 14, which I
Nope.
believe misses. Blasts the wall next to you. The next one is a 16.
Yep.
So that does hit. So the first one you managed to dodge. The second one, not too bad damage, 8 lightning damage as you're kind of like, your claws dig into the vines and the moss, almost giving you like extra handholds, right? That allows you to pull yourself all the way to the top. And you just managed to kind of pull yourself up over the lip of the well as you do so, joining your rest of your companions. And that's your
Great.
full turn. One of the lights immediately flies up to follow you, and sensing that you are, I'm gonna guess, what hit points are you on actually, Clive?
I have 38.
Does anybody have less than 38 hit points?
No.
Nope. In that case, they go for Clive. So this one that's only an 11. So as you pull yourself over, this little ball of light pops up out of the well and tries to blast you with lightning again. You manage to roll to the side as it connects into the stone floor, the cobblestones of the plaza. Tarkhal.
I think I still feel like everyone's fine. So I'm gonna just take a step towards the figure. Not like a crazy amount, just trying to get a better view. I can see.
Okay. You start getting closer and closer, and as you start walking towards it, the figure shifts. They almost stop leaning against the wall. They adjust their body weight, and you do begin to see them take a much more defensive posture. They appear to have like a spear that they kind of pull free, and they just kind of stretch themselves. How close do you want to get? They're maybe sort of 60, 70 feet away, maybe more like 80 feet, and like where the castle doors are. How close do you want to get?
I think I was basically just trying to get a better view.
Look.
Yeah.
Sure.
So like if I now can see more details by moving up 15 feet or 10
Yeah,
feet.
20 feet or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think I wouldn't move any further, and I'd still just ready my action.
Sure. So you can see the outline of this person. They're wearing like a dark cloak, and you can see that they just blend in with the shadow. Like even just stood amongst it, they just seem to almost become part of the shadows. And in your dark vision, especially the grays, the blacks, the whites of your dark vision, they are almost impossible to see. You only just barely caught a glimpse of them because you get the impression they're not trying to hide from you. You have being somebody who knows how to hide and keep themselves stealthy. If this person didn't want to be seen, there is no way you would have seen them. Not with the way your dark vision works, not with this environment. They would have been basically invisible. They are armed, and you can see ever so slightly what appears to be elven figure to them. They do appear to be some sort of elven figure. That's all the detail you can get.
Okay, that's enough detail. Then yeah, I'll continue holding my kiss of silver in my like kind of readied, like if I could just toss it if he does anything funny or if they do anything funny.
Another little glowing orb pops up out of the well. There's now 2 of them hovering above the well, and it will try to blast poor old Clive for a 17. 6 points of lightning damage as this thing pops up. There's no sound to these things when they emerge. They just seem to almost pulse with light as they do so. Azara.
Am I within 5 feet of one of them?
You are. You're in
Cool.
5 feet, within 5 feet of both of them, in fact.
No way. I'm gonna Word of Radiance whichever one is brighter.
Well,
right
Word
now.
of Radiance is 5 feet all around you, right?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
That hits
Oh,
both of them.
God, you are just the best, Mark. Yes, I Word of Radiance both of them, which is a con 13.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Each creature of your choice, you can exclude Clive and Agnis from the spell.
Oh, of
Even
course.
better.
Of course.
So remind me again, is that saving throw on my part?
Yes, con 13.
Con 13. Interesting. The first one does seem to resist it slightly. The second one does not, which is the more injured one.
Cool. So only one takes damage?
Only one takes damage, yes.
That is 4, 5, 7 points of radiant damage.
7 points of radiant damage. This almost forces it to wink out of existence. There is just this ever so slight, faint, dim, tiny little sphere left as this light, this winds kind of wash over it. And it does not seem to fully banish the creature away, but leaves it in a highly damaged state. Anything else on your turn, Mica?
Yeah. If I move, that's not gonna give them an attack of opportunity, right? They're not that close to me.
No, they're within 5 feet of you.
Oh, they're within 5 feet of me. Oh, right, yeah, true. Well, I didn't know if that's close enough.
It is indeed close enough.
It's fine.
All right, Agnis.
They have been completely focused on Clive, right?
Yes, yeah, they seem to be drawn. Like, you can see Clive is heavily injured. Like, he's got these burns and blasts and everything else going on, and they are almost focused, out for blood. You would get the impression of these things.
And Clive is not within touch distance of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. He pulled himself
He
up
is.
out of the well. You guys
Okay.
were like looking down in the well. He's now outside of it, so you can.
Then I'm
touch him
gonna
quite
just
easily.
I'm gonna kind of help him out of the well, and as I do, my hands glow a little bit with fire embers, and I cast Cure Wounds on him.
Oh,
And you get not very much probably, but I'm gonna try. You get 7 hit points.
7 extra hit points.
that's something. Thank you.
Anything else,
Mhm.
Agnes?
No. Oh, wait, did I have my fire spirit this whole time?
Yes, you did, because you summoned it during the Shadows fight.
All right. Well, Candor
It's been a week. It's
Candor
been 2
was,
weeks.
Candor was over like playing with some like spider
Sure.
web or something. Candor, get down here. And Candor will cast Flame Seed on one of the lightning motes.
Go for it.
The more
Most
injured one.
Yeah. The dimmest one. Sure.
And that will be let's see. It is a ranged +8 to hit, so that will be 16 to hit.
That is a hit. No, it is not, in fact. Sorry, my apologies. The flame seed kind of spits out, and this little ball does manage to really... These things are so quick. When they move, their movements are like lightning. It's just...
Candor, pay attention.
Poor little bird.
Just flaps its little hummingbird wings as it kind of... This little blue fiery bird moves out of the way. Clive, you are, on your feet. By the well, there are these 2 balls of lightning, which have been very annoying. What would you like to do?
Well, I don't know if I can like swing at these things.
You can. They're within range.
Well, I don't.
They do
know if
seem
that'll
very
hit
hard to
them.
hit.
All right. I'm gonna take a swing. I'm raging, so at least there's that.
Yep.
Let's see here. At the dimmer one first.
Let's see here.
That's 23.
Does hit, yeah. It hits, although this thing nearly got out of the way. Like, and the Morningstar connects with it.
Well, that's gonna, let's see. 8, 9, 10, 11.
11 points of damage. The mace connects with this dim, glowing sphere, and it just evaporates into light and diminishes, completely destroyed.
Sweet. Oh, I get another attack, so I'm going to try the same thing.
Yep. The remaining one seems still quite bright. It's barely been diminished in any way.
Well, that's 20 higher than the last one.
That hits.
And, oh, wait, there's a +3 to it. 7, 14.
14 points of damage. Again, that same instance where the weapon does seem to phase through parts of this thing, absorbing some of the blow, but it definitely dims in light as the mace passes through it. You see its life force kind of almost shrink in color as it does so. On your go, Clive, unless there's anything else you'd like to do.
Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead. No, that's all I'm gonna do.
All right.
Change
On
mine.
its go, this thing does seem to sense that the tables have turned. It gets the sense that it has lost this battle, and it is going to do. It basically goes to dip down into the ground itself. It seems to almost try to incorporeally move through the ground. You do get an attack of opportunity against it.
Yeah, I
Anybody
do.
who's around. If you have the Warcaster feat, you can use a spell in place of an attack.
I don't have that feat, so
So it has to be a melee weapon attack.
Can I hit it with a dagger?
You can definitely try.
Cool.
and it has to be a melee weapon, right?
It does have to be a
I
melee
gotta
weapon.
get another melee weapon because all I got's my fist.
A good one for you, Agnes, is the Warcaster feat, because then you can do stuff like Primal Savagery as an opportunity attack and stuff like that. It's good.
I got
Well,
a 26 to hit.
That hits Clive, so roll me up damage for you. Mica
I got a 9.
does not hit.
As far as trying to throw a dagger at a will-o'-the-wisp, it's not working.
I punched for 19.
Dang.
That hits. The 19 just barely connects with this thing. You swipe with your fist and just clock it.
It does 1 damage.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I really
can't
actually am
half
kind
one.
of liking this lore that is developing, that Agnes just gets frustrated when things move past her and just and
Monk
hits
levels.
things.
Monk
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah, Agnes takes levels of monk, starts punching shit.
And 11 damage for mine.
11 damage to yours. So it doesn't, unfortunately, have enough strength to completely destroy it, but it does just dip into the ground, and that light that it was emitting just vanishes. It does not return, so unless there's anything you guys want to do to try and chase after this thing, it has sunk into the ground itself. It's not in the well. It seemingly has just vanished from view. I'm going to consider this out of initiative, as the thing has beaten a hasty retreat.
I turn to the elf. I'm like, thanks for the help.
Since Agnes is yelling into the darkness, can I turn to see what she's yelling at?
Yeah, you see what she's yelling at. Initially, there's no real response. And then after a kind of slight pause, the figure steps forward. And as they move away from the shadow of the door itself, and they step, there's no natural light, there's no moonlight here. The whole area is just this dim darkness. Only really this your dark vision and the tiny, briefest, dimmest light from Candor is giving you any illumination. Apart from, actually, there's a sphere of light around Clive, who's now holding this glowing ball in his palm, which is giving.
When I was, but I forgot to mention, when I was climbing up, I would have just put it in my mouth. So
There you go. So it's in his mouth. So there's this like 20-foot radius of light around Clive. But you notice that it doesn't go past that. Like, the light is bright to a point, and then it just becomes nothing around him. But out in the distance beyond the light, you see this figure step forward. They are a very tall, they must be sort of like 6'7", 6'8", tall, very white, like pallid white elf. Their ears are exceptionally long. They have long white hair that kind of trails down behind them, and they've got this long cloak up, which kind of the hair is spilling out the front of. In one hand, they clutch a long, quite crude-looking spear tipped with obsidian, and they're wearing long black cloak, and then they have black leather wraps around their forearms and their legs. Almost only really their shoulders and their face is showing any skin. The rest of it's all covered up. And in a kind of rasping voice, they speak out, "I am not here to help you. You should leave now."
I'm not here to help you either. Maybe you should too.
Azara will kind
Can
of
I
hold
say
up a
that?
hand and say, "Are you King Raiden?"
No. I am not the man who caused this. I am an observer. But I believe I did not make myself clear enough. Leave now. This is not
Why?
a place for mortals. Because it is dangerous. Because it is not meant for you to be here. This place has been condemned. My lady has seen fit to observe its tragedy. Tragedy. You know what I'm saying. That's a Mark Hulmes, not him. Not them, I should say. Yeah, they kind of just narrow their eyes. I'm not going to repeat myself. This is not a place for you to be.
We're on a mission to retrieve items that belong to someone. And as such, we do belong here until we have retrieved those items, at which point we will certainly leave.
Your laws of your world do not apply here anymore, little noble. This is not a place of things belonging or things being owned. The only thing that is here is death and misery.
Well, it seems that that's something we should change.
And what, will you change the wind? Will you change the color of your sky? Will you change the heat of a fire? This is what it is. You are not in your world, not fully. This place has gone beyond your realm.
Azara's just kind of getting really fed up with this entire situation right now. Like she's hit her freaking limit, and she's like, "Oh my god, okay, blah blah, Shadowfell, plane of death and darkness. We get it. You're scary. You're trying to scare us. We're not leaving. We're here on a mission. Either you'll get in our way, or we'll go through you. This is getting to be obscene." And she's just like losing her shit at this point.
She's got like one tiny smudge of soot on her. She's like, otherwise
like,
immaculate.
I'm
It's like,
losing it.
yeah.
She's just so sick of riddles and darkness and bullshit.
Sure.
She's like,
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
no,
Yeah, of course.
we're done.
The figure, I mean, you can make a, give me an intimidation check.
I'm gonna.
Sure.
Is it a nat 20?
I'm going to assume by that face it's a nat 20.
Nice.
Dude, what a lucky game today.
The figure does not, they don't appear afraid of you, but your words definitely have some impact. Their eyes narrow once again. At least you seem to be aware of where you are, but you perhaps do not fully understand the implications of your impatience. Right now, your friend is injured, and he points at Clive. Clyde, you have been attacked by the shadows that dwell here.
I've been worse.
You could not just go through me.
Yeah, pretty sure I could.
Perhaps you could survive.
Well, how about
Perhaps.
this? Instead of speaking in riddles, Mr. Mystery Man, why don't you explain to us where we are if this is so important to you? Or are you just going to stand there and keep monologuing?
My name is Gallows, but I'm no man. I am of the Shadar Kai. I serve the Eternal Queen.
We apologize.
Woman
We
of
didn't
light.
mean to assume.
Your petty constructs of gender and socialness are beyond this world.
Oh, lad, you can't say that.
You are very strange individuals. The Raven Queen watches over the Shadowfell. This place, something happened here long, long ago. It was pulled partly into my world, but it still partly remains in yours. It exists as a crossing, a place where the two realms intertwine, bleed into each other. As a result, you have seen some of the creatures it has created from the people that once resided here. I can assure you that within the castle, they only get worse, more powerful, more deadly. What was being done here, I'm not exactly certain. This lord you mentioned, this Raidren, whoever they are, they were up to something. They were invoking the power of the Shadowfell. Perhaps they had made a contract with one of the powerful beings that dwells here. Then something happened in your realm. Something powerful enough, something chaotic and disruptive enough that it influenced whatever this Raidren was up to. Anchored this castle, this ruin, both in the Shadowfell but also not within it. I have stood watch over it for millennia, trying to warn away mortals such as yourselves who have been foolish enough to come here, who have gotten themselves killed. As many as I could, at least.
Why is
What
the
do you
well-being...
seek? Speak, please.
Why is the well-being of random mortals your concern?
The Raven Queen, their misery is undeserved. The Raven Queen does not appreciate misery that is undeserved. the people here, those that serve this Raedrin himself, their misery is deserved. Therefore, I will not interfere with what they've done here. I will not try and stop them. But others, whose fates do not deserve tragic endings, well, my queen does not wish to see them suffer.
Well, you have given us our warning, and if we go forward and suffer misery, it is deserved. So let us go, and we are not breaking your Raven Queen's rules.
You are not.
Or, on the other hand, this item that we seek is rumored to destroy Raedrin for good and everything that he stands for. So if you and your Raven Queen would like to see him and his people suffer for all of eternity, more so than this split Shadowfell realm, we're on the same page.
I would not say we are in the same page, perhaps the same book, but your words do strike something true. I will not stop you, but I cannot help you. I cannot help you directly. There are some things I can offer you. If you have questions of the castle, of some of the foes you may face, ask.
If I go back down that well and find that little ball of light, you think I could have a rematch with him?
The wisp? Most certainly. It is drawn to... it is a petty thing of hate and vengeance. It will recover. They are cowardly. It will go, it will regain its energy, and then when it is ready, it will lie in wait for the next foolish mortal to go seeking trinkets. But if you wish to fight it, you may struggle to find it. They can become invisible at will. It can hide.
It's cowardly.
Indeed.
It seems most of these enemies are resistant to our efforts. We've made good headway, but should we know anything about their strengths and weaknesses?
A lot of the more intangible creatures that remain here, shadows, specters, they will be resistant to your weapons. But inside the castle, it is strange. I believe that whatever effect, whatever magic Raedrin was up to, he was transforming himself and some of his colleagues into otherworldly creatures. I do not know what has become of Raedrin. He lies deep, deep beneath the castle, in a chamber that even I dare not enter. But I've witnessed what he has done with some of his others. He transformed at least 2 of them into Shadar Kai, like myself. But they are not born to this realm. They are not prepared for its misery, its tragedy, its death. It has driven them mad. Now they guard the entrance to the caverns beneath. They, like me, can be fought with weapons and spell, but you will find them difficult foes. Here is our realm. Shadows are our ally, our weapon. As long as they have that, you will be at a disadvantage. There are also other powerful undead within the castle. Some of the lord's servants or family, I do not know which, but they have become creatures of undeath. Some of them will be resistant to your spells, but most of them can be hacked with weapons. I have tangled with them on occasion in combat. What is this item you seek?
We seek a lantern. A lantern Lady Cecilia reportedly had.
I only know of Raedrin because one of the mad undead constantly speaks of him. I've not heard of this Cecilia before. And a lantern, I've not... Any device of light was destroyed by the undead. They hate it. Light is their antithesis, as it is mine. We cannot abide the light of your world in this place.
Do you
so many of
possibly...
them have been destroyed.
Do you know of a tower? A mage's tower, possibly?
Yes, I know of the mage's tower. It is... He points behind themselves. They point behind themselves to a door. There is an entrance hall. You will find the door to the tower just beyond it, but it is heavily warded. Even I do not dare to try and pass through it. Powerful magics that seemingly survive whatever cataclysm befell here. But there is another entrance in the dining room behind the fireplace, a tunnel, a passageway. However, the dining room is occupied by one of these undead. The mad one I spoke of earlier.
But these undead, radiant energy harms them more so, does it not?
Yes, I believe. Well, I cannot summon it myself. I know of such spells, have injured some of them in the past, but I cannot say it will work on all of them.
Right. Well, I know you say we're not on the same page, but we are in the same book. Is there anything, I know that you are beyond our mortal whatever, but is there anything we could possibly tempt you with, offer you to aid us any further beyond these walls as we complete our quest?
They definitely seem a little offended. There is no bribe. There is no reward that I could give to break my vow to my queen.
But you won't be breaking your vow if you are destroying what she supposes should be in turmoil, correct?
You do not understand what the misery of this place is. If the queen has decreed that this misery is to continue, then it is to continue. Her wishes, her will is not for you or I to decide.
I'm not asking to decide her will. I'm just wondering if what I wonder falls under her will.
If she believes it to be so, she will tell me.
Just sounds nice.
Yeah, is there a way that we can contact her?
The queen? If you wish to travel to the city of Nevernight, many leagues away from this place in the Shadowfell, by all means, you will need to cross over fully into the realm of death and shadow.
I've done worse. But that seems like it'll go off our path for now, so I guess we continue on. And Azara kind of looks at her crew. Thoughts?
Dining room.
Azara like pointedly looks at Tarkhal.
So you're saying there's the likelihood of this lantern being here is almost none, yes?
I'm saying that if it is here, I do not believe it to be in these upper. Either it is in this mage's tower that I cannot access, or it has been taken below. If it is a magical relic, it will not be so easily destroyed as the physical lanterns and torches this place once carried. As such, it may be taken down to wherever Radrin conducted his experiments. Perhaps they are storing it there, keeping it there. Or perhaps they could not access it. Perhaps they could not claim it from this mage's tower. I'm afraid that I cannot provide you any further answers onto its location.
So we make our way to the tower.
I agree. If it is warded against evil or against any entrance, one would suppose that the lantern remains there and we just have to retrieve it.
Tarkhal,
Yes, Clive.
wasn't there something else you were wanting for yourself that we were supposed to get for someone, but you're like, maybe we should keep it?
Figure, have you heard of a potion of
You
youthfulness?
may call me Gallo. I am
Gallo. Gallo.
Hello.
Potions. Yes, there is an alchemist's laboratory. It is just off of the entrance hall as well. You will find alchemy supplies in there.
Thank you for your help. Surprising help.
Agnes, as this all concludes, also kind of steps forward and offers a hand and is like, we appreciate your help. We know you didn't have to help us and it hasn't gone unnoticed. And she kind of like bows a little in thanks.
Your mage is more accurate. I am not interested in helping you for the sake of kindness. I am not here to befriend you. My job was to ward away mortals. You are choosing to ignore my warning. I cannot help you. I cannot dissuade you. I do not see a reason to fight you. That is all.
All the same, I thank you. And Agnes turns to go.
Okay.
Before we leave, Azara will say, before we depart, your job is to protect mortals, is it not?
No, my job is to prevent unnecessary misery.
Your job is to prevent unnecessary suffering. Okay, I'm sorry I minced words. If we were to rest, could we count on you to ensure no harm will befall us before we continue on?
No.
Well, that would be suffering that seems not necessary, don't you think?
You have chosen to elect this path.
Oh,
At this
yeah, that's a
point now.
point.
You know,
If you can find a place within the castle, you may barricade it. Perhaps the creatures there will not find you. Take your rest where you can. But at this point, you stand between a realm of death and life. You stand between the two. I am but a gatekeeper. My queen's eyes are not upon you. You are not marked for death, but nor are you marked for my saving. I have not been given instruction to aid you. Long have I wandered these realms. It is not my duty to watch over you, wizard. Especially with your impatience. You can see that this time there's like, that's a personal bit. Like there's a personal irritation at Azara specifically.
A little lightning flashes in Azara's eyes and she goes, you know what? Gallo, I see that you have no free will, and I see that you have just decided to follow this queen who seems delightful.
When you crackle the lightning, by the way, Gallo raises their hand and blackness, like almost inky blackness, trails up their fingers.
Azara, like she's not threatening him. She's just angry at him, and she just goes, and we will continue on, and you will continue to do whatever it is you do. And I hope that you have a lovely service to your Raven Queen. And she just kind of keeps walking.
Hope has no place in either realm. Only death.
Azara just rolls her eyes and scoffs and keeps walking.
Sure. Yeah. There's definitely a sense of Gallo, they just step out of the way and they just gesture to the looming dark doors. They just watch. Those of you who pass by them, there is this heavy sense whenever you get close enough, within sort of 10, 15 feet of them, you just feel this oppressive weight, like this burden on your shoulders, but also on your soul, on your heart. It becomes hard to even imagine surviving this place or imagine hope, as even just being close to this figure, this aura of despair threatens to overwhelm you. And they just look at you with these cold, sad eyes as they watch you kind of enter in. The doors creak open. And you stare into what now appears to be a entrance hall, a castle entrance hall. Something not too unfamiliar, especially to Azara and Agnis, of a court, a castle's court, an entrance hall. You see grand rugs, now completely drained of any color they once have, as a drab gray. You see chandeliers overhead with tiny blue flickering candles still lit, their blue flames casting no light down upon you. And the walls themselves lined with suits of armor that seem to eerily just stand in eternal silence, watching, waiting as you make your way through. You do notice it is an L-shaped corridor. It goes to the right, and there appears to be... I've got to get up my map now. So as you enter the main doors, there appears to be another door directly opposite you, where you've just come in, set into the wall. There is also a door to your right, and then to the left, the corridor seems to curve into an L shape and heads towards the back of the castle. You also notice, looking around, unlike outside, the shadows here still do that weird thing where the shadows are kind of almost seeming to shift and move on their own. It's far more pronounced. The whole room almost at times seems to tilt or shift or stretch or shrink as you look around it. And in the corners of the room, you almost see like cracks of gray, fuzzy light that just seem to hang suspended in the air, oozing just a sense of misery and despair.
This
What'd
place
you like
is
to do?
pretty sad.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Sad Town. Sadfell. The Sadlands.
The Sadlands.
Sadly.
Shadowfell.
Yep, there it
Shadowfell.
is.
Shadowfell.
About to say, oh, you can check out merch in the Sadlands, but
Can I do my super perception check? Just see if I notice anything
sure.
dangerous as we move forward.
What's your passive, actually, Agnes, before even making a check?
My passive is 23.
23. You definitely notice some things. Coming from that L shape to the left, you hear the sounds of movement, subtle movement. You can almost hear like a muffled voice, just like. Kind of almost like muttered conversation coming from some sort of room beyond. You also hear scraping, like a kind of china on wood or like bones on stone. Coming from that direction. Gallo will point in the direction of the L-shaped corner. The dining room awaits that way. Some sort of ballroom points to the right through there. Your alchemist chamber directly ahead of you. Good luck. And then the door's shut.
Well,
So I don't notice anything like particularly dangerous or anything, probably.
You don't see any tripwires. You don't see any runes. You don't see any visible signs of like a trap or anything like that. You don't see any creatures hiding in the shadows. Suits of armor are a little creepy. They just stood there. Normally they'd be quite polished and pretty, but they've taken on like a different sheen to them.
If I'm taking special note of those, I want to walk over and investigate one.
Yeah. Seems to be a suit. Not a full plate armor, probably chainmail with a kind of helmet with a stand with kind of pauldrons and, breastplate over it, but not a full set of plate armor on a stand. Just seems to be waiting there.
Can I take a piece of it?
You reach
I'm gonna
up.
take like a gauntlet, like if it has a metal gauntlet,
Yeah,
right? Or
it's
like a bracer.
gauntlet. You reach up for the bracer. As your fingers touch it, this intense shock of cold from the cold metal spreads through your fingers. And then it comes loose and you take the gauntlet.
Do I notice anything about it? Like I'm gonna look even closer if it felt so cold. Is there anything like magical about it that I sense or anything like that?
Just a gauntlet.
Okay.
Metal gauntlet.
To be clear, is this like a Thanos gauntlet? Like it has fingers and stuff?
This would be. I don't think it would be a fully articulated gauntlet. This is more like a bracer. That's kind of like arranged on the armor. It's not like a full gauntlet. These aren't full suits of armor.
It'd be way cooler, Mark, if it had fingers.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
It's not though.
All right. Just saying.
Sure. But yeah, you stand in this corridor in the dim lights. You can see these kind of weird gray cracks that seem to hover in the air along the walls and in the corners. The room does that awful kind of stretching motion as you look down it towards this L-shaped corridor. It seems to stretch on and then it snaps back.
Azara will kind of just turn to the group and say, well, I guess we must find this second entrance in the dining hall behind a fireplace. But I think we should also keep our eyes out for, I can't believe I'm saying this, as Gallows suggested, a room we could possibly barricade ourselves in if we need to take a rest. We have a long journey, a hard journey, an arduous journey ahead of us. And as I suppose I'm the only one with the magic that can severely damage some of these creatures, it's going to be tough.
Also, in less than an hour, you won't be able to stand again.
We have the potion of strength, so we have about an hour and a half to get all of this done.
Well, if we're looking for a rest, we're looking to recover.
True.
And perhaps we can barricade ourselves in the alchemist's working place room.
I like this thinking.
I too like this thinking, and if there may be some potions of strength, some added ones, worst case scenario, the rest does not help me, then... And Azara just kind of trails off.
Sure.
So, to the alchemist chamber.
Okay.
Oh, whoa.
You head on over and it's almost directly opposite you. You go to one of these kind of studded wooden doors, like studded with metal rivets, very old school castle door. Do you just try and open it? Who's gonna just somebody's just gonna go up and open it?
Having said that, I was already walking. We should go to the alchemist room.
Right. So Tarkhal, you get there, you go to open it, locked.
I'll bash that shit.
Pass right over the rogue who can pick
Yeah,
locks.
I'm
Yeah.
like literally, I'm like pulling out my Kiss of Silver. Like I've done this so many times. This will be so easy. And then just
Over your head.
Yeah.
There's just a maze.
Show you how to pick a lock. I'll pick not to unlock it.
Sure. Give me a straight up damage roll, Clive, if you're just trying to smash the door down.
All right.
I just like to imagine Tarkhal on his knees in front of the lock, and right above his head, just a mace slams into the door.
10.
10 points of damage. You create a big enough hole in the door that, yeah, you can kind of then reach in and sort of rip it off of its kind of locking system. You can kind of smash it through. The door is now broken.
Yes, as that happens, I look up and I was like, so we were going to barricade ourselves behind that door. You did a good job destroying.
However, it does lead into the room itself, which appears to be the sort of a sort of scholar's study. One wall is lined with bookshelves with a small ladder set up against the side of them. You can see a kind of chaise longue chair set against a leaded barred window that seems to be set out looking behind the castle into the mountains. There's also a desk, a writing desk, as well as a crucible, a large stone basin around which a number of alchemical supplies, potions, vials, and all sorts of chemical equipment seems to be arranged. When you step in, and as the door now kind of like swings a little bit too open and closed, the splinters of wood kind of scattered all over the floor, there is the sense as you step in, you kind of look around, you can see that there's still a few kind of potion vials set out on the desk. There appear to be a number of drawers that maybe you can search through as well. Several of the books fall off the shelf. Just
since we are planning to hopefully take a long rest soon, I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Okay.
Just to see if there are also any magical items in here.
Yeah, you cast Detect Magic. 3 of the potions, in fact, 2 potions on the desk light up with, I believe it would be potions of healing, I guess would be evocation, because I think Cure Wounds is evocation. So they kind of register with evocation. They appear to be glowing on the desk. You also see, just very faintly hidden in one of the desk drawers, there appears to be a glow coming from within, although you can only just barely see it. That drawer seems to be kind of like and in fact, actually, it probably wouldn't even be a drawer. It looks like it's like a part of the desk that you couldn't normally get to. Like you're kind of like looking, you're almost seeing through the wood itself at this vibrant glow.
I'm going to cautiously walk over to the desk and take a potion that glows and see if anything happens.
Nothing happens.
Cool. I'm going to take the other one that glows.
Cool. One of the books falls off the bookshelf. Just
then
the room suddenly drops in temperature.
Yeah.
Ice begins frosting over the glass itself.
Yeah.
Why are you here? And that's where we're going to end the episode today.
Ah!
Oh, spicy.
Ghosts.
Ghosty times.
Ghosts.
Sad ghost castle.
Sad ghost castle. But yeah, that's where we're going to end the episode today. So because we've cut it short on a couple of them, and I want to make sure we had time to do shout outs and stuff like that. So yeah.
I have a quick D&D question because I was
Cool.
reminded how great my passive perception is.
Yeah.
If I roll a perception check, can it not be lower than my passive perception?
No, so it's different things, right? So passive perception is just picking up things without spending any physical effort to do that, right? So as a DM, I try and factor that in, that when Agnis walks around, if there's a creature hidden in a room, if its stealth is lower than Agnes's passive, you should get a clue that something is in there. The way that I try and roll passive is passive perception should give you the clues that then prompt you to learn more by examining the room and role-playing and exploring and using your other skills, right? A perception check is like, hey, I want to find a specific thing, or I'm wary that something's in here now. I'm going to make an active check to try and find it. So that's
Right.
how I try and do it. Like passive is a good thing for like giving away clues. So like if you were in a dungeon corridor and, you know, Agnes's perception, I might describe, oh, Agnes, you see that there's a thin wire that stretches across the thing. You don't know what it connects to. You don't know how it works, but you see the wire.
Right.
Or maybe you notice that there's like one of the tiles on the floor is ever so slightly raised more than the others. Again, that could be a red herring. It might not be. You don't know. But that's what I kind of see passive for.
That makes total sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
I learned like 3 new D&D things this session.
We're learning.
I know.
The concentration one comes up so much because in High Rollers, I have a lot of spellcasters. So we are constantly checking for concentration and making sure. That's one thing that we still mess up. But yeah.
I feel like I have... It's strange. I wonder if Chris Perkins plays it differently because he never lets me cast spells when I'm concentrating. But maybe he just chose not to make that distinction for me.
Maybe. The raw rules is that you can cast, if you cast another spell with concentration on the first spell goes away.
Maybe
if you get
that's
knocked
it.
out. Yeah. So
maybe I was just like not paying enough attention.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is D&D's a rules heavy game, dude. Like
Yeah.
I don't expect, like I don't know half the stuff. I'm still figuring stuff out. So yeah. It happens.
That was cool.
Cool. Right. Anything else from anybody? And then we'll do shouts. Anything?
No, good session. It's fun.
Good sesh. You happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darkness
Good.
is
I'm just
Everyone
reading.
happy?
I'm just reading cleric spells. Sorry.
Sorry, spell. Nate, did you add Drift Globe? Because that is a physical item as well. So there should be a
Yes.
D&D Beyond entry for it and stuff. Cool.
Oh, how many healing potions did I just get?
2
what kind?
greater healing potions.
Dope.
I got the drift globe. I didn't get the other stuff.
So yeah, the other stuff is there was a golden necklace worth a golden necklace worth, where is it? 100 gold. A gold signet ring of House Braewinter worth 50 gold. And a sealed scroll case, which if you open contains a scroll of protection from evil good.
That's
Cool.
important.
Yeah, that's it. Bam, bam, bam.
Bam.
Cool. Who wants to go first?
I got a lot to say. I'll go
Yeah.
first. Hi guys, I'm ShadyPenguinn. I've been playing so much Pokemon, it's insane. I literally sleep and I see Pokemon or chess. Those are the only 2 things I've dreamt about for the past 2 weeks.
Wait,
So,
video
if you-
game or card game?
Video game. I know. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I
Anna.
know. I still open lots of Pokemon's cards, but I haven't been playing. But yeah, so if you want to see me play what is literally the hardest Nuzlocke I've ever done in my entire life, Nuzlocke is just hard mode Pokemon. Come out tomorrow, twitch.tv/ShadyPenguinn around 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm always late. Chat gets the yell at me. It's really fun to berate me. And I'm also learning chess, like I said. So I'll be playing that probably next week after I beat the hardest Nuzlocke of my life. And that's really all I'm doing right now. I'm gonna tag Mica.
Oh God, I was looking at cleric spells. Hi, I am Mica Burton. You can find me at Mica Burton. I also have a dog, and her Instagram is at Reenie's Wild Shape. I also ride horses now a lot more. And so at Mica Strides is my horseback riding Instagram because that's a thing that cool horse kids do. I'm not.
Content.
It's content. I'm not doing things right now that I could talk about. I have like 5 NDA things going on, but past things that I've done, you should go check out Critter Hug on the Critical Role channel. And that's it. I'm gonna tag Nate.
Hey, I'm Nate. I was told that some people were trying to get me to use Danger Sense during the session and just thought I would read what that actually does, which is advantage on Dex saving throws, which would have served me absolutely nothing in this. So just a
Except
friendly
for when you were trying to evade the damage from erupting earth.
No.
No?
Because also a friendly reminder is even if someone has something, maybe they don't want to use it. So either way,
Yeah.
friendly reminder, don't backseat game. I tag
Yeah.
Anna.
Great.
I'm a big fan.
I've been, well, actually, first of all, Mica and I did something yesterday for Twitch. Twitch hired us to help celebrate International Women's Day and Women's History Month. So we did an hour-long talk on my Twitch channel /Anna Prosser about found family. So you guys will recognize a lot of the stories we tell and a lot of the feels we have if you want to go watch that. And you also may know Kate Welsh from C-Team and various other things. She designed our overlay. So a little shout out and thanks to Kate for
Aw.
doing that for free because she loves us.
Kate's great.
She's
I know.
great.
Wonderful. I will not be on Extra Brains this Friday because I'm going on a little staycay for, well-being, which is great. But the following week on Friday, we're doing a show where we're going to brainstorm about grief, which I think is a really important thing to talk about that we often don't talk about and make a lot of assumptions about. So I hope you'll come join. That's on my channel next Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And I guess that's all that I have to say about live things until next Tuesday when we will be back. But if you're looking for other D&D stuff to watch, I also did Pawns and Patrons this last weekend with Live in Pink, Seltzer, Koibu, and Silent Osiris, which is always a really good time. And that VOD is also on my channel if you want to go check it out. And I think Mark has not said stuff yet.
I have not. Thank you. There's a bunch of things. The first one I always mention, please do check out my other D&D show, High Rollers D&D. 5 years been doing it. Big epic sci-fi fantasy campaign going on at the moment. We also do a little bit of Curse of Strahd. If you got some Curse of Strahd vibes that you want to go and fulfill, we do that on the High Rollers D&D channel. You can find them on Twitter as well. That's my main thing that I do. A couple of exciting things, D&D things related at the moment as well. One, Candlekeep Mysteries is out, I believe, next week, and that includes my adventure, my first official D&D adventure in that, The Price of Beauty. There's a few interviews going out that's got some more details on that. And also, going live tomorrow on the PAX Australia Twitch channel, I ran my adventure, The Price of Beauty from Candlekeep Mysteries, for Alyssa Grant, Luke Lancaster, Dan Natoli, and Dale Kingsmill. Alyssa Grant from Penny Arcade, I'm sure you know, and then Luke and Dan from the PAX Australia team, and then Dale's got a cool D&D YouTube channel. I ran it for them, and it was a really super fun game that I did this morning, and that should be aired tomorrow. Please come and check that out. It was a lot of fun. They did a really great job. You should come and check that out. And then also tomorrow in the evening, I'm running a D&D one-shot for Code Miko, the streamer. So if you're aware of who Code Miko is, it's going to be a very chaotic one-on-one D&D adventure. So come and check that out. And that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about. Thanks very much, everybody. We will see you next week for more Nights of Eveningstar. Take then. Till care. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Take